Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Carlson Cards podcast. Today should be a super fun episode. We're going to dive very hard into player collecting, and especially, I would say, super collecting. The individual's favorite player who we have on today. So we have on today Beau, whose Instagram name should probably give away what we're going to be talking about, is at Roethlisberger Collector 7. I talked to Beau for a long time. I know I met you, obviously, Beau, last year at the National, which was a lot of fun. We had some time to chat there. Just been going back and forth. It's funny. I know, 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago is my birthday. So we scheduled on my birthday. Then I was like, crap, we're going to eat. We can't do this episode. And then every time, I was telling you this before, I schedule an interview with somebody from Florida or especially Tampa area. There's a hurricane. So you had a hurricane, I think, 3 weeks ago, and then one last week. And then it's been a long time coming, but we're here. But thanks for hopping on. How's everything going? How's life? How's the post-hurricane life? All that.
Austin, thanks so much for having me, man. You're my first official podcast. We made it. It's been a hectic few weeks here in Florida, but all is well with us. We evacuated across the state for a handful of days. Still, it wasn't pretty there either, but all is good. But yeah, we're here.
Awesome. Should be fun. A little lighthearted, talking about cards for a little while. And I know we were just talking before. I completely forgot about this, but you brought it up. We both had me, Pac Nicholson, who's obviously familiar to a lot of people, and then Stacking Slabs. We all had daughters within the same month, and I think for three of us it was our first kid. And I know you were just talking about the baby proofing everything. So how's dad life going? And especially, do you have any thoughts on how that changes the collecting sphere when you have your first kid?
Everything. It's the feeling, right? As a father, it's just nothing compares. It's the ultimate feeling. And she's at that 10-month stage already. It's flying by. So she is, starting to crawl around and stand up on things and letting go and putting everything in her mouth. So it's good chaos, and it's worth every second of it, And as far as the hobby goes, yes, being smart and, selling stuff to acquire new stuff, trying to explain that to my wife accordingly. So she's understanding the process of the beautiful chaos ahead.
Yeah, that's the fun of it too, is I tell my wife, I just bought this car, then she says, how much is it? And then it's like, no, I sold these two to pay for 80% of this. So it's not what you're thinking. Right. It's always that. I explain the science behind the madness. All right. So first topic I guess I was going to ask you about is, if you wouldn't mind, again, being the first time podcast appearance here for you and not having been on any others, love if you could kind of share a little bit about, your personal background, maybe, career, how old you are, whatever, where you're from, anything you want to share. And then what kind of got you into the hobby? I'd love to hear that side of your journey as well, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, this might take a minute. I was born in 1980, so I'm almost 44, believe it or not. Collected, started in about 85, 86. Well, I was 5-6 years old, so I was young. I had an older brother who collected baseball cards, and he collected top sets from 74 to 83, 84. So I saw how he did that process, ripping packs and collecting everything in binders, keeping everything organized. So it kind of got me interested. 85, 86 was fun. I remember just buying a pack or two here and there, and it was like tops, or it was Garbage Pail Kids, right? Those things were the craze, where they were banned from schools, but I loved them. So it was just every year, 86, 87, 88, 89. Every week my mom would take me grocery shopping, and she would drop me off at the local LCS when I was young, and I would just hang out there for an hour, and she'd come pick me up, and I would get a couple packs and just hang out with that kind of crowd. Same thing on the weekends. She would drop me off at KB or Toys R Us, and I would acquire whatever packs that were around and available at the time. So I collected pretty strong. And it was just like player collecting, just like who was popular in the 90s, right? Griffey, Frank Thomas, all those guys, Jordan. I wasn't smart enough, though, to rip a bunch of 86 Fleer basketball. I should have. But I collected pretty strong up until about 93, 94, because I was 13, 14 and had other teenage things to worry about. And then I got back a little bit, dipped my toes in about 98, 99, when McGuire was doing the home run chase and record. And then college comes, have no money for anything. And then 01 is where it really kind of took off, because of golf, actually. I'm a I play golf. I try to play golf as much as possible, but things have changed lately. But when Upper Deck came out with their first golf product, and Tiger Woods was obviously everything, I was ripping like a maniac, just golf. And then SP Authentic comes out again, ripping like a maniac, just golf. And then O2 comes, and that's O2 probably has the most nostalgic memories for me is ripping and starting to set up at shows and starting to travel. So I started taking it more seriously in O2. And then 03, we got LeBron, so it just kept going. And then 04, boom, Ben's rookie year. So I've PC'd him since literally his rookie year in 04.
So is that from when you got into Big Ben there? Is that from being a Steelers fan? Like, are you a Steelers fan? I guess I don't even know the answer to that for sure. Or do you just like him because he was good at
I've
the time,
never.
won some Super Bowls?
It's funny. Like I get a lot of people on IG, reaching out for other Steelers stuff, and it's like, I follow them, but I'm not diehard. I never grew up a Steelers fan. I'm more of like a player guy, right?
Yeah.
Like baseball, everything. I actually grew up watching the Packers. Like I was a huge Favre fan when I was a kid. He was unbelievable. And his style of play and just how gritty and tough he was, same kind of, attributes as Ben. I started collecting Ben. The story, I'll try to keep it quick. His first cousin married one of my first cousins.
Oh, wow.
So we met I think we were in high school still. So we were nobody. I'm nobody, but he wasn't who he is at the time. And then you fast forward a few years and he's in college. He's in Oxford, Ohio, doing his thing at Miami. And we're like, oh my gosh, like he's doing big things. And then 04 comes where draft rumors are, hyping up, and Mel Kiper and Clayton and all those guys are, he could be a top 10. We're like, this is unbelievable. And then the draft comes, and we all knew Eli and Rivers were kind of the top tier quarterbacks right there. And Cleveland had the 6th pick overall. And we're all kind of like, oh, he's an Ohio guy, so it makes sense. He's going to go to Cleveland. But we all know Cleveland Browns quarterbacks is just, it's kind of like
the graveyard.
So we're kind of like, okay, awesome. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback. But again, oh my God, if he goes to Cleveland, what's his career going to end up like? Thankfully, they passed up on him and they picked, I think, Kellen Winslow Jr., if I remember right, which didn't really pan out. And then he went to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 11, which panned out.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so any other connections through the time of, it sounded like, again, you married, or your first cousin married his first cousin. Is that what it was? That you
Correct.
just said?
Yeah.
So did you said you met at the wedding, like any other connections over time where you got to meet
Yeah,
him, or just been following from afar, kind of knowing who he was through that? And that's
a little bit of both. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen him a handful of times, but not enough where he would probably even recognize me today. If he walked into the room, he'd probably be like, what? And if I made that connection, he'd be like, oh, yeah. But yeah, I've multiple times during family parties or whatever, he'll might show up randomly. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. So I think actually, because you have so many really cool cards to share, I think we're going to start right and jump into some of them, if that works with you. And then I'll probably, some of the questions that I plan to ask, I'll ask as we're talking about some of these cards, because it ties a lot to some of the questions I have. So you don't mind as we go through this, especially with this first card, obviously, not everyone has a visual. So if you could describe the card and kind of say what we're looking at, the grade, what it's numbered out of and stuff. And then we can talk about, the card itself, maybe how you got it and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the 07 National Treasures Shield Auto 1 of 1. I got it raw and graded it just to grade it. I like to just have everything slabbed up no matter what. So I was really happy when it got a 9/10. I think this was Jordan at Northwood's Card Collector. I think that's his IG handle. He reached out, and I think maybe Brett reached out. It was posted on eBay, and it was posted weird. The description was weird. It was just like Big Ben Auto Shield or something. It was like something obscure. I'm not searching Big Ben, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't have never seen it. So I immediately got on and made the purchase pretty much right then and there as soon as I saw it. Little shield, but it's a shield, you know what I mean? So happy with that, and shout out to those guys who reached out to me.
So this one too, I guess it's a good question to start with here too. When you first started collecting Big Ben, I guess what year was it? Was it right away at 04? And if so, or if not, what did you collect right away? Did you dive into these shields, or have you just learned over time that these are what you like? Like, how did you decide what you collected early on? Or were you just going for
So
like the key rookie cards and stuff like that?
yeah, so obviously in '04, it was nothing but rookies. And funny story, this is back when Beckett price guides were still used quite a bit, right? And for the younger crowd, that was it. People went by high low and usually sold for half book. That was kind of the standard. eBay was around, but it wasn't used like it is today. Not even close. Like, oh, that was the last comp. This is what I want for it. And when Ben made his first start and he ended up going undefeated on that run, his stuff was selling twice book, which was unheard of at the time. So I had like a 2-row box, I remember, and it was full. Nothing crazy. It was just like cheaper rookies, that whatever came out at that time. And I had to sell it, right? No matter how much connection I had to it. I was making twice book, which was unbelievable. So off they went, and then I started slowly picking up the pieces. At that time, my first, 10 years maybe of collecting him, it was anything rare, anything rookie, anything auto, anything patch. And that's changed, obviously, in the last handful of years, where it's like, where does that end? It's just never ending. Where's the value? It's not fun, but there's a start, right? That's how everybody starts collecting. But now I'm slowly consolidating and picking up those cards that you can't just obtain every day on eBay and make 2 clicks and buy it, right? Finding those cards that never show up, the golds and the shields and the supers and finites and stuff like that.
So I got to ask, because I think you're the first person I've had on that continually collected throughout this era that I love so much. So at the time when, again, actually, maybe I'll flip to the next, some part of the Mount Rushmore so we can get an idea of some of the cards I'm going to talk about here. So at the time when these cards come out, right, these sets, these, parallels, like let's say again, like a super fractor or like 0506 finest, now these like gold refractors, gold X refractors that are popular. Like at that time when they first came out, did you have any knowledge that this was like a big deal, or did you even see them? Were you even aware that they were out there at the time?
Yeah, but again, you know how it is, how the hobby's changed, evolved in the last, let's say, 10 years. Gold, everybody loves shiny gold stuff. They weren't near as what they were, is what they are now, right? The supers are supers. They pop up here and there. I've owned a few other ones that I don't anymore back then, and it was a fraction of what they sell for now. And it's like anything else. The 05 Bowman Chrome, that was something that a lot of people don't even know about. The golds were 101s, Select, same thing. When Prism came out in 2012, nobody wanted it. And same thing with Select. It was kind of like, what is this? We want Topps Chrome. You couldn't sell the stuff.
I imagine like people with pitchforks and torches, like ever see Shrek where they're all outside, like we want on top.
I remember going to shows and people couldn't sell it.
This?
It was just boxes and boxes of it. And that was when prices were cheap. You could rip this nothing, and people weren't. It wasn't hyped up yet. It was still too new.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. That's interesting. Okay, cool. I was curious to your perspective on, again, the awareness, but also like desirability. But it sounds like the general takeaway here is like, okay, you're aware of these things, but number one, maybe weren't as popular, or number two, period, you just don't see them like you do today, like the supers and stuff. I'd imagine you're always looking for them, but you just can't find them, it sounds like.
Exactly. Right. I know there are a couple are hiding, some other IG fellow members, but they're probably not going to go anywhere for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so awesome. So just like that shield, now we have 4 other cards that also fit. These are like these are your honorable for the Mount Rushmore, right? So these are 4 that aren't quite in your top 4, but they're right up there for you.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, if you could kind of step through these in whichever order you want. I know you already hinted at the one on the left, so I don't know if maybe you want to start with that, but feel free.
Yeah, I'll go left to right. The 05 Bowman Chrome gold refractor. This is Roger's rookie year, Ben's second year, gold refractor. So you're thinking out of 50, maybe that's how they did everything, but this is 101. It's a true 101 stamp, and the old 101 stickers that they had on the back. A lot of people don't know. These are kind of ghost. I actually didn't really know about it until it popped up. I was like, what is this? He has an 05 gold. And then I saw it, and I think it was an eBay purchase that was just acquired immediately as soon as I saw that. The 12 finest super, that was a eBay purchase as well. Raw, got that graded, got a 10. love early finest, or supers. Can't go wrong with that. I have the 11 as well. And
Do you prefer 2012 over 2011?
They're close. I have the mosaics too. It's hard to pick, to be honest with you. But yeah, they're just awesome in hand. Anybody knows the supers are kind of king. The 05 finest randomly popped up as I was looking earlier this year. Showed up on eBay on a live auction. Old slab, you can see the typing on it. I would like to get it reslabbed. It's kind of messed up, but can't go wrong with the 05. 05, 06, there's the debate. I'm kind of an 05 guy myself. It's the second year. I don't know if that means anything. The 13 select, I had to throw it on there just for you. I know we spoke kind of candidly about it. Everybody knows that you're trying to make this run, and you know where this is. It's not going anywhere. So when this is your last card to complete your set, man, this is where it's at. So we'll make it happen.
And that's funny because that's what I think the E-Trader told me about is Tom Brady, and then I found one. So hopefully I can find one for this one too. But a few comments here. So that 05 finest, the gold refractor and a PSA 10. Number one, the grade. I mean, my God, that's so impossible in that set. And the other thing with this, and I've talked with others about this set. Actually, I think Gunther even 2 weeks ago about Brady with this set. I like the red kind of color match because, like, for Big Ben here, I mean, this is just wicked. It's got the black, the red,
with the gold, right?
The gold, also some silver. I mean, again, it's just like I was gonna say it's like the perfect Steelers color match, but I think it kind of is. I mean, I don't know. Is there a better color match than that?
He definitely benefits from the gold stuff, right? With that black and gold, just it's such a great looking, shine and everything to it. But yeah, definitely helps wearing that uniform.
Yeah, no, that's the perk of it, though. It's interesting though. The two gold teams that immediately come to mind are the Steelers and Packers, and the color match is so great. But they're also great fan bases, so they're so hard to get these players at reasonable prices. At least I feel like, especially some of the fan favorites, it makes it so hard.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So then, a quick question that I know, again, I was kind of wanted to ask you about. So, just in a general sense, I'd be curious if you could share why do you feel players like Big Ben, Eli Manning, Larry Fitzgerald, just some examples because I know they're all three from the '04 draft class. Why do you feel like their prices they trail so hard of like the modern players? Like even I think of like Big Ben or again Eli Manning is a really good example where wins 2 Super Bowls, borderline Hall of Famer I would assume. Hopefully, I mean I'm not sure, but his prices if you do like very comparable like rookie stuff to today's players. I mean it's like I don't want to say like 20 times difference, but it probably is, right? I mean something like that. Do you have any insight on that? Being someone, what was that?
It doesn't make sense.
No, yeah, I would say, do you have any insight from like the mindset there of somebody who's been doing this for so long? Like, do you have any idea why that is in terms of, just the market as a whole?
I mean, obviously the hobby's changed since '04. It's been 20 years. Prices of wax has gone nuts, right? Maybe that has a little bit of factor to it. People are spending $2,000 for a box of Prism, which is absurd. It's still a $200 box in my mind. And we're in, a younger generation where this is the new era of quarterbacks, right? Like everybody's investing and Mahomes is proven, I think, right? But these other guys that people are dumping all this money into, like Will Levis and Riddler, like what? Like what? Even Burrow, as good as Burrow is, like I like him, what has he really done yet? And he's been in the league for how long? It's like, come on, like what do they have to do? What are people expecting out of them? Are they expecting 3 Super Bowls? Are they expecting a top 10 quarterback of all time leading in every stat? The prices are reflecting that. So I'm not telling you how to spend your money. If you have that kind of money to spend $10,000 on a Prism Gold, good luck. I'd rather put that into, somebody proven like a LeBron or a Jordan or a Tiger Woods, rookie auto or something like that. It just doesn't make sense. It's crazy. I understand, you have your favorite team or you'd like this quarterback for whatever reason, but like spending tens and thousands of dollars on something he's not even, proven yet. People overhype. Oh my gosh, this second stringer is starting next week. Let's hype him up and sell him for thousands of dollars. Come on.
I love it. I think I obviously totally agree with everything you're saying. And one question that again, talking like market changes, was it how was it like back then when you're collecting Big Ben? I know you mentioned even at the rookie, he does so good. You're selling some of the more common stuff that's just the price doesn't make sense to you. When he goes on and wins, the first Super Bowl, and obviously we won multiple. Did you feel like being someone who wanted to collect him long term, were those opportunities where you, like, again, I know it was a while ago, but were you directly like, he won, I'm going to sell all these and then I'm going to come back and buy them later on for cheaper? Like, was that a sentiment back then, or it isn't really something that was thought about so much, just with the hobby not being as mainstream?
It wasn't really thought about much. I mean, I've had some other big, rare stuff that I was planning on holding, but I sold them to acquire other stuff, right? That's what everybody kind of goes through at times, to acquire other things, bigger and better. But yeah, I didn't even think about anything like that. And like what I'm doing now is transitioning and consolidating, because I do have too much kind of mid-tier stuff that you could obtain any day of the week. You can make 2 clicks and buy it. That stuff I'm trying to get rid of, get out of, to acquire more Grail stuff.
For sure. And somebody who's like being yourself, who wants to pursue these, is it a situation, and no need to share any tips or any secrets here, but like, is it a situation where you know where some of these things are and you want to work up to them, or you don't know where they are, so you want to be prepared when that, opportunity arises, or a little bit of both?
There's a couple that I know, and not necessarily just Ben stuff either. There's some random other stuff. You see my page, it's, kind of sporadic. I'll post a Ben, and then something else random, but it's all kind of in that 2000s to 2010 era is where I hone in on. So I still have other Grails that I want to obtain from that era. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I know a couple bands out there that I would like to get. One just kind of surfaced. So I'm in the midst of making some moves. But yeah.
Makes sense. And how do you, so again, being somebody, you just mentioned there, you have the interest in Big Ben, and obviously a lot of what we're talking about here today, but you also interested in other players, from that era that you liked, I'm sure, different sports and that sort of thing. How do you balance that? Are you pretty deliberate about, like, I want to have a collection of Big Ben and then a bunch of other players, here's that list of players? Or are you pretty free with it, where if something catches your eye, you're open-minded about it and you don't feel the need of just staying in a certain lane or that sort of thing?
Right. A little bit of both. We all have our saved searches. Yeah. So I'm checking that daily, and then I'll just kind of randomly just, surf, I'll look at golds, look at reds, look at, whatever it might be. And something might pop up like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this bust that I used to collect, back in 2010 or whatever it was. So yeah, I'm kind of both ways, where I'll do my safe searches and then kind of surf and see what else is available. Same with like wax, like I don't touch any of the new stuff. It's too crazy for what you're getting. So I'll dig deep into like 01 to like 14. And I mean, you being a 13 select guy, you know how much a box of that costs?
It's like $300. I have like 6
It's like
or
250.
nine.
Yeah, you can get it for like $250.
Yeah.
Like that's what it should be, right? Like, you're not gonna totally like lose your ass, but like it's fun. You're gonna get something maybe. And so I'm doing that, like looking back at like 01, even like 2015 Prism Jumbo, you can get that like for $250 compared to like the new stuff. But the rookie class is horrible, but I'm not rookie hunting. I'm looking for golds and blacks and that stuff. Yeah. So it's been fun.
Well, it is kind of interesting too, though, because you do something like that. And I don't know, I just like the idea of you open the box and immediately actually if it's a good card or not. You're not, oh, it might be if this guy plays good, if this happens, like, no, I got to, tie-dye Tom Brady in this 2015 Prism box. This is awesome. This is cool. You kind of know the players. So that makes sense. Yeah, I think part of it too, I know I talked to Gunther about this last week, but like, I don't know if you're watching this year and kind of feeling this, but it feels like quarterback play, I guess it's picked up since I talked to Gunther, but it just feels a little bit like we're missing some of these great players more than maybe we were a couple years ago. Like, I think I'm starting to feel the lack of the Big Bens, the Eli Mannings, the Peyton Mannings,
Rodgers is the last man. Rodgers is the last man standing.
Even Drew Brees, stuff like that. But I feel like that goes to show you, though, to your point, these old boxes, what's so sweet is how big that list is of Hall of Fame players and quarterbacks. I mean, I think it's just astonishing compared to today. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a couple obvious guys that we have out there now that are Hall of Famers, but there's not a list of like 8 or something like there used to be. I don't know.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. That's why it's a little, you know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? That's why you're not spending, what you're spending on newer stuff. You're more comfortable spending a couple $100, and if you lose something, you lose something. But yeah, I've been having fun with that. Hoarding, kind of consolidating a little collection of boxes to maybe have fun and do like a rip night or something one day.
Yeah. That's what I have with these select boxes too. I just have them because there was a couple lots that popped up and I just snagged them because the price was good. But it's like, I'm not going to open these, I don't think. Maybe in a rainy day or like a national to
Yeah.
celebrate, you go there. But, or, I trade you a couple for your Big Ben or something. I mean, I'm
Hey,
just,
hey, you never know.
yeah. But yeah, no, that's a real thing though too. Honestly, I bet you that's kind of some value in boxes too. Just finding those like-minded collectors, and you have like imagine too. Again, if you have a hoard, you said like for myself, how cool that would be to see it all. If you have the box, it's like especially myself, never opened these, but loving the products and
Yeah,
recognizing the product. That's just such a cool thing to have. Piece of nostalgia.
absolutely. Yeah, me usually during the national every year, me and Joey at the E-Trader, I'll give him a shout out there for him.
Yeah.
We'll go in and buy those kind of boxes. Not the new stuff, but the 2000s, 2010s, 2015 stuff like that, because it's fun and it's inexpensive.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. So we'll jump over to the big, real, full-time Mount Rushmore here. So honorable mentions, it's funny because I'll flip back to that for a second. Like to me, this is an insane Mount Rushmore on its own. But then, again, you see someone like yourself who's been collecting for 20 years. You can just see how you could probably put together, I bet you like 10 of these, I'm sure, with just Big Ben alone, that would look incredible. So I'd love if you could touch on, the cards here. We can take our time, obviously, if you want to start with, one, and then we can kind of talk about the card a little bit. Feel free to dive into whichever one you want here.
Yeah, sure. I'll start left to right with the
Sure.
infamous 2012 Prism Gold BGS 9.5. First initial kickoff set. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? That's one thing that I do admire about Prism is they kept the golds kind of true staple throughout, right? Yeah, they added some gold waves and gold discos and all that, which I try to avoid, but the true solid golds are just amazing. I picked that one up at National 2 or 3 years ago. Joey kept on hounding me. You need to get this card. This is, you have to have it, hyping it up. And we were there. I was in Chicago, and it was, I think, day one. I ended up seeing it in the guy's showcase and just pulled the trigger on it. I mean, just such a beautiful card. We all know how important I think 2012 Prism Gold is and is going to continue to be. I think people are going to look back, maybe 5-10 years from now, and this is going to continue to get more and more dried up.
Yeah. I bet you're thankful too. You listened to Joey there a couple of years ago. You should have been telling him about Tom Brady. Go get one for Tom Brady. He would have been happy about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Joey pretty much knows, the rabbit hole. You got to listen to whatever advice he gives you. So
yeah, totally.
We'll kick it off.
So this one too, I was just gonna say, so this one as well, you find it a couple years ago, when you see it in a showcase, I don't even need to hear like the price, obviously, but just more so like when you see a card like this at that time a few years ago, would you have pulled the trigger as long as it was like reasonably within what you were shooting for, or was it higher and you're like, I don't know when I'll find one of these? Like, what's kind of the mindset there, especially at a big show like that? How do you think through those kind of things?
Yeah, actually, they had it priced pretty fair. I mean, reasonable of what they were going for a few years ago. So I think we negotiated. It didn't take very long. And again, how often do these things surface? You may never see one. I may never see one again.
Yeah, and have you? I don't think I've seen one of these besides this copy. I don't think I've ever seen one. Have you
It's the
seen
only
any
one
others?
I've seen personally. I mean, I think since 2012. I mean, put that in perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had to do it. There's no turning back. And I'm on that Prism Gold, kind of maniac psychopath run where I'm trying to do all of them, and I even have doubles and quadruples of some of the Prism 10s or Prism golds, but not this one. And he's got a true gold in every set from 2012 till his last year in 21, which is kind of cool.
I didn't realize he made it to 21. Before you said that, I was guessing 2019, but it's crazy to think again, these guys, it's only been a few years. It's only been a few years, but it feels
like
so
forever.
much longer. It does. Yeah, it really does.
Especially in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, you got a competition going now. We don't even know who's going to start this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at this point.
No. But yeah, awesome card here. And it makes you wonder though, to your point, because even I have a Peyton Manning, and even for that card, or like the Tom Brady, for instance, I don't think people know of more than 4 at most, maybe, that are out there or have ever even surfaced. If you go and trace the, serial
Yeah.
number back through sales history, it's just crazy to think about. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Where
They're
are they? I have no idea.
locked away. I mean, some might
Yeah.
be in some packs, but I think people know what these are and what they're going to be, so.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes sense. I actually, funny story with these two. I don't think I've shared on here. I don't go to card shops very often. There's nothing. I live in the middle of nowhere. There's really nothing within like an hour, hour and a half, and I just haven't gone to anything. But
Right.
I was in Madison, Wisconsin for a show in Janesville, so you have to drive through Madison to get to where I live. And we stopped at a card shop there. I think it was Nelson Cards at the time. Now it's called like Bonsai Cards, I think.
Right.
But there was a guy in there, and I don't know the guy's name, obviously, but I don't think I just share it without his permission. But I just met him the first time there, and he was getting a PSA order back, and he's flipping through. It's like there's an Aaron Rodgers 2012 Prism, Jordy Nelson, Clay Matthews. He had the whole team set. He's like a
Jeez.
gentleman, probably in his 60s, 70s, or probably maybe a little less than that. And I was like, whoa, like this is a couple years ago, but I was like, what's the story here? Like, how did you get into these? And he had just said he just liked these gold sets when they came out in 2012 and the product wasn't popular, and he just always put together team sets. So he has all of them for like
Wow.
every product.
Wow.
I'm just like jaw dropped. But again, perfect example, that will never appear on those will never appear online unless he auctions, he sends them to an auction house one day or something. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. And to your point, that's probably where a lot of them are because I would have guessed, again, people probably knew what they were at the time even too, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So next card here, I'd love to hear about this one, especially assuming we're going to talk about the one that's next here. I don't know what they're numbered out of. I'm not sure the significance, but it looks really awesome.
Yeah, so this is the 04 Bowman Chrome on-card rookie auto, red refractor. So the red refractors, if I remember right, they were kind of box toppers. They were an uncirculated box toppers. And I think the rookies were numbered to like some obscure number, like 239 or something weird. I don't remember too much, but the autos are numbered to 10. And this is numbered 1 of 10 in a PSA 8. I've never seen this card ever. I've seen plenty of the golds out of 50, which are just awesome, again, with the color match and everything and the shine of this set in particular. But this one just kind of randomly popped up on eBay a few years ago. I was like, what is this? I need this. Made a few back and forth offers and landed the job. This is one of my favorite Ben rookie autos.
And is this, I was going to ask overall, would you say, I mean, I guess if it's on your Mount Rushmore, this to you is your favorite rookie that you own of his?
I think right now, yes. Fingers crossed I get another one soon. Both fingers crossed, and that might take over. But yes, this one's been on my number one kind of rookie auto list for a few years now.
Awesome. That makes sense. Awesome card. I know these Bowman autos are interesting too because I think it's the 01 year or something or 02 year. I saw an Ed Reed recently where there's like these random just these auto super short prints where like out of it's unknown what they're out of sometimes in these products, and they're like out of 10 maybe or out of 5, and they're just crazy rare.
Yeah,
And
I think I know what you're talking about. The 02 Bowman Chrome, like the X Factor red ink auto or something like that.
Yeah. Well, do you
Yeah,
have
I don't
any more
remember
knowledge
what
on
they
that?
said, if it was like
Yeah.
10 or 20. But it's, very, very rare. Short
It's just cool. There's all these little, like, again, looking at this card or that card, like these, there's always something to learn that, again, myself, I'd never seen any of these before. And then you see them and you're like, wow, I didn't realize how important those are. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, I've never seen this. I think I've seen an Eli quite some time ago, but again, out of 10, they just never show up.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Awesome. What's the next card here?
Next card is the 08 Topps Chrome, the true base card, the Superfractor in a PSA 8. This was acquired from Gunther. He reached out, a year or two ago already.
All roads lead to Gunther, I guess.
Yeah, all roads lead to Gunther. He DM'd me and just said, "Hey, I got this Ben that's available. Let's make it happen." And it was like boom, boom, done. Just super awesome that he reached out. And just super easy to work with. Gotta love Gunther.
Yeah. So what do you think of the shine on this one? Like, how's the design itself versus some of the other supers you have? Why do you put this one at the top?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the black border on top of the gold kind of Superfractor look and his black jersey, just everything just looks awesome. Obviously, in hand is a million times better than this. And I have the sister pairing of this card too. There's I think a Pro Bowl card in the base set. I have that super as well on a PSA 8. But this one just, I don't know, just screams the year, the era, 2008. You know what I mean? At this time, he's just doing his thing. Just love it. You know, the Topps Chrome Superfractors from that era.
And the color match, like you said, like you look at it, aesthetically, okay, it's pleasing to the eye, but then once you start to dive into why that is, it's, yeah, like you said, the connection with the black on black, the gold, this looks awesome. And this set too, I don't know, just something about it, again, being someone who didn't open these packs as a kid, but this is a set that always I come back to, it just feels like a sports card. I don't know how to explain that. It just feels like a cool card, cool design. Like it's just, you don't see stuff like this anymore. Uniqueness.
Absolutely. And then taking it back to the wax stuff, you know, like the 2000s and 2010s, like late 2000s Topps Chrome. It's just so awesome. It's fun to rip. And again, it's affordable, and there's still stuff out there, believe it or not. So
what's the craziest thing you've ever ripped? Like any card you hit? Does anything come to mind?
We could talk for another hour about this. One that pops up, you know, in 01 when I was going crazy with golf. I went into my local card shop and SP Authentic just came out, and he had boxes of it, and he had an open box, and it was like $5 a pack. I'm like, give me 2 packs. So I gave him $10. In the first pack, in that set, if you opened up the pack and you pulled a Sign of the Times, which was an autograph insert, it was right there. First thing you saw. So of course I see it, and I see congratulations, and I see Tiger Woods's portrait on the side of the card. I was like, no way. Pull the card out and flip it over and throw it down on the table. Didn't throw it down, gently put it down on the table. And everybody was going nuts. It was one of those like just great moments where the shop was actually full and people were going crazy. And it ended up being the gold version, numbered the 25.
Wow.
Number 17 of 25. I'll never forget it. And a guy on the spot offered me $5K for it. I was 21 years old. I spent $10. I'm like, this is a no-brainer. But what do? I'm like, nah, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to show it off. And who knows what it's going to be worth, because this is like kind of like his first rookie auto set, right? So I held on to it for a few months, showed it off, ended up selling it to the owner of the shop, I think for $4K, which was, you know, nice little profit there. But yeah, I can keep going. I used to rip like a madman.
I'll ask you your second favorite one in a couple minutes. You can save one for that. That
Right.
works. What? Out of curiosity, you have any idea what that card's worth now? Not to make you shoot yourself in the foot, but do you have any idea? Is there any?
I haven't seen a gold out of 25 surface in a while. Somebody on IG just posted one. I know they have one of the Tiger Woods only, I think, IG guys. But I know just like the regular version autos of that sell, depending on grade, anything from 2,500 and up.
Awesome. Then what's the last card you want to share here?
One of my babies, the National Treasures full equipment shield, 101. This was acquired again 2 or 3 years ago at the National. Everything happens at the National magically. I forgot who the handle was on IG, but we were going back and forth for quite some time about it. Finally made a deal, and we made the connection at the National. He brought it with him and got it done. I got it raw, and we all know these cards, especially from this, you know, these years, and they're just chunky, thick, old, you know, card. They're not going to gem. You know, these are impossible. But again, I wanted it just to be PSA slabbed because that's what my collection is. And the grade to me doesn't really matter. It's a 101 full equipment shield. If it gets a 6 or a 9 or a 7, it's whatever. So it got the grade I think it deserves. It's just got, you know, obviously, you know, some edge, you know, a little wear and a corner here and there, but it is what it is. You can't beat the full equipment.
Yeah, how important to that is it for you? Sorry, the tighter shield versus the larger, like just in terms of even like you know, I'm just totally unaware of this. Like if you had to give a multiplier difference in terms of value for you as a collector, let's say you have just a patch window that's just tight on the shield versus this with the full equipment. Like to you, is this worth double that? Like how do you value that as someone who's looking for these?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the set and the design as well. You know, the other one I have is an auto, you know, and kind of relatively a newer one compared to this year. So I think it just depends on the set and the design. But yeah, I think generally the full equipment shield is more desirable for obvious reasons. And I think a lot of people can vouch for that.
Awesome. It's a funny thing. I was going to the Packers versus Vikings a few weeks ago. I was riding the back of the truck that we were riding in, and my father-in-law was driving in the front seat. He had a Packer hat on, and the back of his hat had the perfect like equipment, NFL Shield logo, just like this. I mean, a different design slightly, I think. And I was like, "Wait, what the hell? I didn't realize they had them on these hats." And it was just like a weird, like I don't know how to explain it, out of body experience. You're just seeing this thing
That's
sitting
what's
here.
going into the. That's what's going into the new rookie stuff now.
It is. It has to be. I was thinking that as I was seeing this, and I was like, "That's literally the same design as these old jerseys." I'm like, "That's interesting. I didn't realize that." But anyways,
Yeah,
kind of funny. Awesome, Beau. It was super fun so far. We'll wrap up here with like a fast five if that works with you. I can't believe it's been 40 minutes already. It feels like 5 minutes. I'm not even kidding.
yeah, right.
I say that every time, but like this time for real. But maybe because it's been a couple weeks since I recorded one of these. So,
Yep.
Okay, so first question: if you had to collect a teammate of Big Ben, and maybe you did in the past, who would that be and why?
That's tough. I do have some. I have like a Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Hines Ward, Bettis, Palomalu. I mean, gosh, James Harrison doesn't really have any cards, and he was just a monster. I would probably say Palomalu. I mean, he kind of was just a different breed on the field. And he's got some really, I don't have any, but one day maybe, like his 03 finest gold X Fractors and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd probably stick with Troy.
Yeah, awesome. I just got his select gold just to throw that in your face. So
yeah, nice.
But the color match is cool. It
Yeah.
looks great, just like you said with the Big Ben. I don't know if he has the same jersey. Ben has the white jersey, I think. I don't remember what Palomalu had, but
I can't remember what Troy's got on in that.
but yeah, those are cool. I gotta love the hair too. I mean, it's just nostalgic for everybody. I mean, you just
Right.
remember that so strongly. Not a lot of guys can rock that anymore.
Right. Now he's doing Head and Shoulders commercials with Patrick.
Yep, exactly. So back to ripping a little bit for the next two questions. What is your favorite product you've ever opened? Like if you could go back and have an infinite number of boxes you just rip for fun. You don't have to keep any cards, just to enjoy it one more time. What box would that be?
I was always heavy in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s in SP Authentic football. This was before SP Authentic was actually kind of king and kind of trumped contenders for a long time, because the auto patches were more premium and you only got one a box or one every other box compared to your contenders where they're all stickers and you got multiple. So SP Authentic football was kind of like king for a long time, and I enjoyed just ripping that since 02.
Awesome. Okay, then the next thing, because I already shared this with you, what is your second favorite card you ever pulled, since we already heard the first one?
All right, we'll make it into two. So this was at a TriStar show in, I think, Houston, Texas, and I ripped, I think, 2 boxes of 14 Topps Chrome football. Pulled Jimmy G's gold refractor auto number 10. Guy offered me, I think, $400 on the spot for it. It's yours. I take that $400 and I buy 1 box. Again, the pricing has changed a little bit, of NT basketball. And this was like 2014. It was like $450. So I had to fork out $50. Take it back to the hotel room, and I pulled a Logo Man auto of Grant Hill. So that was kind of like a nice little
2-for-1
transition.
Yeah, that's awesome. What did you end up doing with that one? I'm sure sell it probably at some point.
Yeah, I think I sold that pretty much at the show the next day.
Yeah. And then bought the, some crazy card, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Went somewhere
Always
else.
happens at the National.
Right.
So next question then, and it's a little bit of a maybe a trickier one, but for those listening, what would be your tips for somebody who's starting out and wants to be a player collector today? Do you have any tips for that? Like how you would, like if you had to restart, how would you go about doing this?
I mean,
have fun. Just getting your name out there and finding cards, like any tips, anything that comes to mind?
Have fun. Know your lane, because it's going to go 8 different ways, eventually. But just have fun. Don't sorry, my computer's. Don't listen to all the talking heads on this and this. You have to buy that. Get what you like and what personally connects to you. And then, eventually your hobby and your collecting will continue to grow on. So. Awesome.
And final question, a fun one, hopefully. What's a couple failed player PCs for you? I think you mentioned you had a few, perhaps.
Off the top of my head, there's probably multiple baseball guys. I'm a huge baseball fan, so probably prospecting baseball is the hardest. I still dabble, but it's tough, man. Going back to 2002, David Carr, the rookie quarterback for the Texans, was so hyped up and didn't have a very long NFL career. So I had quite a bit of his stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Famously the brother of Derek Carr, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Beau. This is a really fun episode. Really appreciate you hopping on. Where can people reach out to you to say, thanks for the good episode? If you have any questions, where can people find you?
Obviously at Roethlisberger Collector 7. Hit me up.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I hope you had fun.
Austin, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
See ya.